So on December 6th, 1993, the world said goodbye to Frank Zappa. And Frank will live on forever in recordings, both video, and his concerts, and all the bootleg recordings of him, and guilty as charged. Anyhow, I just want to say what everyone else probably feels. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for your music. Thank you for your ability to teach us to intellectually poke fun at the absurdity of life's challenges. The mindset is not unlike that of Lenny Bruce. Maybe you're the Lenny Bruce of popular music. The melding together of the genres from doo-wop to Versace influenced classical to rock and roll to fusion to absurd mall pop music. I mean, you covered all the bases and threw in humor. And thank you for the smiles. Thank you for making us think. Thank you for fighting for our right to think. Miss you, Frank Zappa.
That was the way the family announced the death of a musician described as irreverent and one of a kind. Zappa died over the weekend of prostate cancer. He would have been 53 in just a couple of weeks. CBS correspondent Randall Pinkston looks back on Zappa's career.
Zappa started out as a drummer but turned to the guitar. His first love was classical music, but when his work was rejected, he took up rock in the 60s and formed his band, Mothers of Invention. Freak Out was the first of Zappa's more than 50 albums, and a few years later the band also appeared in what might have been the first rock video, 200 Motels, an outrageous movie about a rock band on tour. Most fans remember Susie Cream Cheese, but Zappa also coined such immortal lines as "Gag Me with a Spoon" and "Grody to the Max" in the hit single Valley Girl. Zappa's wacky songs were never chartbusters, but that didn't bother him.
I don't want to change the way I do stuff or change the content of what I do in order to achieve commercial success. I happen to think that what I do is wonderful, doesn't hurt anybody, and it's entertaining.
In the 80s, Zappa jousted with some members of Congress who wanted warning labels for records. Whether composing complex classical pieces or bizarre spoofs on subjects no other musician would even think of touching, Frank Zappa was an original. Without him, the 60s and 70s would never have been the same.
Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
Controversial rock musician and songwriter Frank Zappa is dead. Zappa died over the weekend in his Los Angeles home after a long battle with prostate cancer. Zappa first became famous for his group, the Mothers of Invention, but is probably best remembered for his scathing lyrics and anti-censorship activities. The Grammy-winning artist was 52 years old.
One of the more bizarre and musically controversial people in rock and roll died over the weekend, but it was just this morning the world learned that Frank Zappa had passed away. The 52-year-old Zappa had been ill with prostate cancer for several years. In a strangely worded announcement this morning, his family said he had left for his final tour on Saturday night, a reference to his death. Zappa became famous in the late 60s when he and the Mothers of Invention began releasing off-the-wall albums like Lumpy Gravy and Burnt Weenie Sandwich. He never wrote a love song, and in a recent interview explained why.
A love song creates the desire for a situation which will never be created in real life, so it just breeds frustration. A kid grows up listening to love songs, and he's comparing his life to what's being talked about on the record. And he ain't never going to get it.
Zappa was buried yesterday morning near Los Angeles.